Welcome to Saint of the Day for January 31st, the feast of Saint John Bosco. Saint John Bosco, known to the world as Don Bosco, was a simple priest who lived in 19th century Turin, a time when the city was filling with poor and abandoned boys. Many had no stable home, no real education, and no one watching over them. They were easy targets for sin, crime, and despair. Don Bosco decided that none of them were disposable. He went out, gathered them in, and gave them something the world could not offer: a home in the church. He built what became known as the Oratory, a place where boys could belong, where they were loved, corrected, taught, and formed. They learned to pray and work. They learned to live with discipline. And most importantly, they learned to receive the mercy of God through confession and the strength of God through the Holy Eucharist. Don Bosco understood that boys do not become holy by lectures alone. They become holy through a life shaped by grace. Don Bosco developed a system that later became famously known as the preventive system. He formed them through truth, through faith, and through a fatherly love that was steady and strong. He believed holiness is not reserved for priests, monks, or mystics. Holiness is possible for students, apprentices, and ordinary people when the sacraments are central and virtue is taken seriously. God protected Don Bosco's mission in a miraculous way. He placed a mysterious dog that Don Bosco called Grigio, who would appear at key moments when Don Bosco faced danger while traveling at night. The stories describe Grigio as suddenly showing up to escort him safely past threats and vandals, and then disappearing just as suddenly once Don Bosco was safe. Whether we call it providence, angelic help, or a sign of God's protection, the message is clear. God was guarding the priest who was spending his life to save the young. Perhaps Don Bosco's biggest impact are the saints who were formed in his oratory. Saints like Saint Dominic Savio, a boy who learned to love confession, the Eucharist, and purity of heart. Don Bosco also had a deep devotion to Mary. He trusted her as a true mother, and he taught the young to take refuge under her care. Don Bosco left us with a message that we should all keep in our hearts. It is not enough to love the young. They must know that they are loved. That is the difference between simply wishing good for someone and actually leading them to Christ. So how can Saint John Bosco be lived out in our daily life? Choose presence over distance and patience over sarcasm. Choose encouragement over constant criticism. Go to confession regularly. Receive the Eucharist with reverence. And invite the young to do the same. Go to the Holy Manna blog to get the full story and learn more. Saint John Bosco, pray for us. If you enjoyed the reflection for the Saint of the Day, please help us spread the message by reposting or sharing. Thank you and have a blessed day.